Hey, this is the Entertainment Advice Channel. What I want to talk about today is a question of, is there anything wrong with violence in media? So, when it comes to violence in media, whether it could be movies, TV shows, etc., is there anything wrong with watching something that has violence in it and actually enjoying it? Well, the simple answer to that question is no, there is nothing wrong with it. And the reason why I say that is because when you create things related to violence, whether it could be things like anime shows, like fantasy shows, um, sci-fi movies, whatever genre you're interested in, all that type of stuff, the truth of the matter is that in the end of the day, all that stuff is just simply fiction, okay? If anything, okay? It's not really hurting anyone in real life, as I'm certain you can tell. Like, let's look around, no one's being hurt or anything for that matter, no one's getting actually killed or any of that type of stuff. So what exactly is wrong with watching something that is filled with violence if it's fictional? Like, in the end of the day, the way it was created anyways, through like paper or like something like, for example, I don't know, like, some digital program like Blender or something like that, whatever. The thing is that all the things that you're looking at is just simply nothing that actually really exists. It's just like watching an anime show. All you're looking at is paper that's just simply hyper pixelated or whatever you call it, animated for that matter. Pieces of paper that are animated to make a series. So what exactly is wrong with watching something that's full of violence if it's not real and people are actually not getting hurt? And that's a thing that I hear all the time, well, this and that and this and that and this and that, well, it's still a reflection of reality and this and that. Or the biggest one of all, of course, let's not be mistaken, is that it encourages people to kind of want things to happen, or people to want violence to happen. And that one is such bullshit, it is not even fucking funny. Because the whole idea that, oh, it's going to make people actually want something bad to happen, or violence to happen for that matter, is completely fictional, if anything, for that matter. Because the truth of the matter is, even if there are a few individuals who are like that, the vast majority of people are not like that. The vast majority of people, um, in our society here in North America, let alone the Western world, are exposed to violence on a day to day basis, through media, entertainment, TV shows. And how many of them actually decide, oh, I want to do that? Just like mom movies. There's a bunch of people watch mom movies, with people getting killed and all that type of stuff. How many people actually look at that and say, you know what? I actually want to be a mobster. Anyway, that's exactly the point I'm trying to get across here, if anything. So, what exactly are you trying to explain here? Like, these people, whenever you bring up that argument, or I should say this argument for that matter, that there's so many people out there who watch violent media and do not act a certain way, they always try to talk around it and this and that. But the answer is simple and straightforward. Most people do not act out on these things, these urges. So, what exactly are these people talking about? For that matter, okay? So that's why when I hear that argument, I'm just like, yeah, we've been through this as a society. We've heard this enough times. This argument is stupid and dumb and annoying, and it needs to stop. And that's simply the truth of the matter, okay? That is really it in the end of the day, okay? Besides, the truth of the matter is that also needs to be mentioned, of course, is that what would happen if we were to not have violence in media and entertainment and stuff? You know what that is? That's utopianism. This idea of this perfect world where there's no pain, no suffering whatsoever, and everyone is happy all the time. And that's one of the best arguments to always bring up whenever you hear people say, "Oh, I don't like watching violence." Or I should say, or well, not even a case of if you don't want to watch it. If you don't want to watch something with violence, and that's your choice. But the topic is more the argument they make is that, well, I don't want people in general watching stuff with violence. It corrupts the minds of people. That whole argument that they've been making forever, but that argument is so fucking stupid, in all honesty, though. Because the truth of the matter is, when it comes to that specific point, about it corrupting the minds of the youth and all that type of stuff, that is utopianism. The idea of no pain, no suffering, and this and that. That is getting into the topic of utopianism, because it's just like, the topic of that for that matter. And let me further expand if you don't understand. It's just like, for example, what if we were to actually ban violence in media? What if we were to ban violence in entertainment? Not only would that require censorship to be done, of course, no surprise, that would also, of course, imply, you know, that well, not even imply, but it would simply create a society where people are not exposed to violence and don't know much about it and so on and so forth. So if something were to happen in life, there's always something that's always fucking happening anyway. People are gonna not really understand it or comprehend it, and it can cause problems with people. Okay, just like taking away someone's ability to feel pain. What if they start feeling pain again? And that's why utopianism doesn't work. The idea of this perfect world where there's no suffering whatsoever in any way, shape, or form, and everyone's happy, everyone gets along, and this and that, that is problematic for that matter, okay? Because the truth of the matter is, what happens when people are exposed to that type of stuff? And that's why when I hear that argument about, oh, violence in media should be banned, it brings up that whole talking point about utopianism. Because what happens if people are exposed to it and they're not used to seeing that type of stuff, or for that matter, even know it exists? What are they going to do then? And it can cause problems, make people start questioning things, and just in general screw things up, for that matter. And it can create situations that are really ugly, such as the whole, so what, we've been living a lie, and all sorts of things. And that's why it's not good. Not to mention, obviously, the obvious censorship thing. What happens if people still want to watch it? What are you going to do then? So that's exactly what I'm trying to say here. That's why when I hear that whole argument that violence in media is bad, I always think about the whole point about that's very utopianistic, or in other words, dystopianistic, So that is the truth of the matter. So in short, there's nothing wrong with it. Besides, at the end of the day, as long as it's fiction and you're not actually watching somebody actually get killed, or like deliberately like hoping a war happens, which I highly doubt anyone would really want to even think about for that matter, or even do for that matter, if they had ability to, just to make something interesting, which I know the vast majority of us are moral enough not to do something like that. Then in short, there's nothing wrong with watching violent media. It's fiction, the characters are fictional, the people who suffer the pain are fictional. So in short, what exactly is the fucking issue? And that's exactly what I'm trying to get across here, in honesty. And that is the truth of the matter. So anyway, this is my video. All I have to say is that I hope you learned something as well as enjoyed it. And just remember, if you like this video and videos like this, remember to thumbs this video up and hit the subscribe button. And this is all I have to say. And simply put, I'm out. So bye.